There. Ooh.
Okay, I just remembered to turn the recording on. So I hope y'all don't object, because that way anybody that's not here tonight or y'all can watch this later on and review. And I will post these on my YouTube channel, but I make them private, so you have to have the link to get to them. So that, because this is the North Carolina Storytelling Guild benefit. And so anyway, so I just turned the recording on. So we will be recording tonight. And also, I have a set of screen shares of all the things that I'm doing. So don't worry about taking copious notes. Just hang on and try to absorb as much as you can. And then know that you can go back later and watch the videos and look at the PDF file that I've got that's screen shares. It's got notes on it as to what you need to do on each screen. So that's the I've already got the Instagram and the messaging one that we did about a month ago. I've got those on video on YouTube, and I've got the PDFs for those. So you can review all of these as a set, or you can, the individual modules that you missed, the Instagram or messaging or YouTube on Thursday night, you can review all of those later on with PDFs and video. Okay. So Miss Alice, you said sometimes you get a message that somebody has given you a message or something, and you go look at Facebook.
Well, they'll just say so and so's birthday, or they've posted something, and that's how I get onto it. I don't ever do anything otherwise. I don't go on it and try to do anything myself. I'm just not into it, although I should be. But
my sister calls it nosy book. She says the only people on Facebook are trolls and people that are perfect.
Well, that lets me out. I might come in the troll department. I don't know.
That's exactly what she says. She says that I've been accused of being a troll before. She says, but nobody's ever accused me of being perfect.
No. They did, but they're dead, right?
And I told her, I said, I tell this joke, I do storytelling, but also used to do stand-up comedy, of course, not with COVID around, but I used to do stand-up comedy. And I have this joke I tell about being out camping, and I have the blow-up air mattress, and it's called Elvis because it's blue and it's suede. And so in the middle of the night, Elvis let me down.
Oh dear. Well.
And in my tent with my little cell phone, I posted, all right, Elvis, it's the last time. You've let me down, and I'm going to throw you out for good. And so I posted that on Facebook about 2:00 in the morning when I was camping. And by the time I got up at 9:00 Sunday morning, then there was 14 people had liked that post, and it was all the girls in high school that didn't like me. Because it was obvious at 2:00 in the morning I was having some domestic difficulties. They didn't even know Elvis was a blow-up air mattress.
Yeah, so much for who cares, right?
So anyway, my sister calls it nosy book. It is a very, very, very useful tool, though. So, of all the people on social media and the internet, 80% are on Facebook. That is a sobering thought. And the thing about it is, it's all the people that you went to school with, all the people that go to your church, the people that you're in the knitting group with or the crochet group with, like I am, or it's, people that you've had interaction with, like a storytellers, or like I've helped out with a couple of groups of backpack buddies. I've done a lot of work a lot of volunteer work for them, and also a lot of performing work for them. So all of those people that I know from the table group, the Backpack Buddies, they are all my Facebook friends, and all the Cinderella's Closet, those people are all my friends. So it's a real good way to get in touch with the people from all the different layers of your life in one spot. So I highly recommend that you do a couple of things, and you don't have to do a whole lot to actually, I think if you saw in the email, I said you only have to know 4 things on 4 different internet packages or social media packages to be smarter than 99% of the people out there when it comes to like promoting yourself on the web. And it's not only for promoting yourself, but it's also for promoting storytelling itself. whatever helps storytelling helps me, it helps you, and it helps everybody that you work with. So that's my little preaching. So you don't have to do anything we talk about tonight, but if you want to help your friends, if you want to help other people, if you want to help the people in your community to know about storytelling, because we all know about storytelling magic. We know how listening to a story makes us feel so much better. Like Canute, that night I did the open mic with y'all. I still this moment get cold chills when I think all about all those wonderful stories those people taught, and that was in February. And so, it's like storytelling warms the heart. It is so full, and things to me like TV or going to the mall or watching professional basketball or something, that to me is not very soulful. So to introduce people to the idea of the soul filling storytelling is you're doing a good deed. So that's, like I said, that's my preaching for tonight. So we're going to start. I'm going to show you how I actually create a page for and this is there's two different kinds of things on Facebook. One of them is your personal page, and that's me, Cynthia Raxter, human being, sometimes most of the time called Cindy Raxter, and that's the person that went to school with of 300 or 400 people. That's the person that knows all these people from church. I know all those people. And then there is my professional page called Cynthia Raxter Storyteller. And that's the people that may see me from the audience and not actually know me personally. I've a lot of times, because I'm just such a social butterfly, if I meet somebody and talk to them for a few minutes and I know that we're kindred spirits, I'll say, here, follow me on, or be sure to friend me on Facebook. So, but there's a lot of people that just might see my video or see me on a live stream, or maybe see me emceeing an event or something like that, and they will go out there and find my professional page, Cynthia Raxter Storyteller. And with a lot of people, their personal pages and their professional pages are going to be two different entities. With me, it's so intertwined, you can't cut one away from the other. But so I'm going to show y'all how to create a professional page, and there are advantages to having a professional page in addition to a personal page. Okay, and we'll go over a few of those a little bit later on. So let me get I'm going to start doing a share, and we're going to go back to our Sammy and Gilligan and Allie. There we are. Okay. And of course, my sisters are going to send me a bunch of text messages and all this, so y'all will just have to, hopefully they won't put anything up. We're getting ready to go to the beach, so there is a message coming in about what we're going to do when we're at the beach starting on Friday, about every 3 minutes. So this is my, I created a fake page for my cats, and my cats have their own professional page. Let me get that back up there. Yeah, so get that over there so y'all can see. All right. Okay. Okay, sorry, let me move this button out of my way here. There we go. All right. And how you actually start this is if you go to Facebook, when you first log into Facebook, it will open a page that looks like this. This is your home page. So when you first log in to Facebook, you just click on you will see the home button. And this is true for no matter what kind of browser you use, what kind of computer that you use. And one of the first things over on the left is your friends, which are very important. That's your personal friends. This is Cynthia Raxter, the personal person. That's my personal page. If you look here, I've got all these professional pages, and there is Cynthia Raxter, comedian / storyteller. There's the Bynum Front Porch. That's the like I said, the old store that I'm in right now that we use as a community center. There's also the town of Bynum, North Carolina. But down here at the bottom, you'll see my page, Sammy, Allie, Parker, Sammy, baby Allie, Parker, Sammy, and Gilligan. And what I did there to create this is I just clicked on this home page right here. On this home page, I just clicked on create new page. And that gave us this beautiful thing right here. And the main things that you want to do here is you want to put this is called a cover photo. You want to definitely put a cover photo up. It's like having a billboard basically. And a lot of times if I'm going to be part of a storytelling event and I can slice that, I think Canute, you've got a real good logo of Mountain Area Storytellers that you use for your cover photo. And you can actually, on this cover photo, you can edit. You just click on the photo itself once you upload it from your computer, and you can edit and you can put your information about the event. Like when I was going to be part of this Mountain Area Storytellers, I put the Mountain Area Storytellers cover photo on my storytelling page. And then here, actually on this photo, I wrote that this is the date and time of the storytelling event. So this is a good place for a flyer. It's a good place for a cute photo. Maybe it's your garden. Maybe just something personal that tells people about who and what you are. Or maybe it's a picture of you performing, during your storytelling. Or maybe it's a picture or a picture of when you went to Wild Acres, or maybe a storytelling event. So but make sure that you put up a cover page. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you put up a profile picture. And this is Sammy. Isn't he adorable? He is the sweetest kitty in the whole world. And again, you can, if you would like, you can edit this and put your contact information here. So you get the idea. So you not only have the photos, but with those photos, you have a little bit of information where people can find out more. But the reason is because there's going to be, Alice, you said you get a notice that it's somebody's birthday, or somebody has liked one of your videos. When you put up a new photo, like a cover photo or a profile picture, Facebook sends out a message to most of your friends saying, Alice Cunningham has just put up a new profile picture. And people will see the profile picture, and they'll also see that little bit of text that you've put in next to that photo. Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Or do you want to wait till you're finished?
Go ahead, ask your question.
Like I have a Facebook page, but I thought I needed to start a Facebook page as a storyteller. I don't have a professional page. Do you add it onto your personal, or
yes,
how
ma'am.
do you do that?
Yes, ma'am. Add it onto your personal. And a lot of people will only have, I think like Tim Lowry only has a personal page, but there is a lot of tools that I can go into greater depth at another session about the tools that are available to you as a professional page. And Facebook does not charge for the professional page. The only time Facebook would ever charge you for this is if you start like running Facebook ads, if you click this blue button that says promote. But they give you a lot of like, it can tell you demographics about how old your people that are following you are. It also can tell you what time most of the people that you know or that follow you are on Facebook. So, like I know that 9 o'clock on Friday night is a good time to post things. I also know that 9 o'clock on Monday morning is not a good time to post things. So if I've got a new story to go out or a new blog post to go out, I usually post it about 8:45 on Friday night, because that's when I know most of the people that follow me are going to be on Facebook. So there's just different tools like that you get from having a professional page. So that's what why I recommend you have a professional page. One of the reasons. And the other thing is it has advantages. When we get into events, I'll show you those advantages. Okay. But so
Cindy,
and yes.
So did you invite all of your personal Facebook followers onto this and then add those professional followers onto the page, but not onto your personal page? So two questions. Did you take all of your followers on your personal page and invite them to your professional page?
Yes.
Yeah. And
yes.
then secondly, did you separate, and for example, let's say Tim Lowry, you wanted Tim Lowry, invited him to follow you, but you wouldn't do that on your personal page, you'd do that on your professional page?
I would, me personally, I do it on both.
Okay.
Just because my personal page is so public.
Yeah.
And my thought is, I tell stories for children, and I'm with, I do farmers market storytelling, and I do art with the kids at farmers markets, and I tell stories while we do art. I'm involved, I go to daycare centers, I go to schools, libraries, the boys and girls clubs, whatever. I am a storyteller for children, and adults also, and I do stand-up comedy. So I don't want anyone that has a child to wonder what I do on my personal side of my life. My personal side is as public as my professional side.
Okay.
That's you don't have to do that. If you want your personal side to be more private, then you can set your page to be private, and nobody will even know that you've got a personal page. But I worked in computers for many years, and I never knew of a system that didn't get breached at some point in time, and personal information became public. And y'all know those stories too. So I basically, my thought is I don't have anything to hide, and so I don't hide anything. So that's the only thing that is not public is my physical home address, and that is, I have a PO. I still have my PO box. We have a kiosk now instead of me getting the mail here at the store, but I still have that PO box, and so I post my PO box as how to contact me. I don't give people my home address because I don't want somebody from a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning to find out where I live. So,
Good.
That's sort of the line I draw. But that's fairly easy to do. But if somebody is adept at searching Google, they're going to find out it's easy to find out where somebody lives.
Right.
So anyway, but they're not going to find it out easy just going and looking at my Facebook page. So, but yes, if you click on these wherever you go in Facebook, if you see these 3 little dots, it's like Zoom. There's more to them. There's more to it there, and you can invite your friends, and I invite all my friends. I think it's about 1,400 right now. So I invited all my friends, and I've got about 500 followers on my Facebook professional page. There's about 500 followers, and that's good. Yeah. I'm not embarrassed by that.
Right. So
that's a pretty good number.
Yeah. So actually, you inviting them they have to accept your invitation just again on that particular page. It doesn't automatically shift over there. They have a personal decision to make.
They have a personal decision to make, okay. And I do not have to approve them liking or following my page. I don't have to approve anything, right. But they do have to approve my request to like my page. Okay. So, and when you go to other people's page, like here, if you look under these 3 dots, I think I've already done this, but you can like, oh, I can do that. I can like Sammy, Allie, Parker, and Gilligan. I can like that as my professional page. So if you go to Bynum Methodist, if I go to the Bynum Methodist Church professional page, I can like that as Cynthia Raxter Storyteller, and I can lock it as Cynthia Raxter Human Being. So
and it's separate. Yeah.
Right, and that's true about if like there's a group called Old Country Stores, and of course Bynum Front Porch likes the group Old Country Stores. Cynthia Raxter likes the group Old Country Stores, and the town Bynum, there's 3 of my pages. Bynum, North Carolina likes Old Country Stores too. So there's 3 of my professional pages, and me personally likes the Facebook page called Old Country Stores. So, and you can also from here share this. And right now, if I see this, this is a picture, this logo is that's Cynthia Raxter Personal. That's me standing out in the garden. I can share this page to my news feed. So that goes to those 1,400 personal friends of mine that I've got from church and from school and from.
Right.
So that just shares that on their Facebook page, on their Facebook feed. And you can do the invite friends from here or whatever. But there's lots of ways to get this information out. And one of the main things that you want to do once you create this page, besides making sure you've got a good cover photo and a good profile picture, and maybe putting some information on those 2 pictures using the edit key or the edit menu. But one of the things that you want to do, if you'll notice here, this name, not the one with the @ symbol right there. Okay. That is something that you have to put in. Facebook doesn't automatically name this page for you. And this becomes your hyperlink. This becomes the name for your page on the internet. Okay. If you did not manually put this name in here, it would say something like baby space Allie space Parker, Sammy, whatever. And then at the end, it would have a dash and it have about 6 numbers past it. As you go around Facebook in the next few days, look at the web address on the different people that you visit. And you always want to make sure that you put this name in so that it will assign you a unique name that people can remember. Now, it may not be it may not be easy to remember baby Allie, Gilligan, Parker, and whatever, because I can't even remember all those names myself. But when you come to www.facebook.com/Cynthia Raxter, that's easy to remember. If you know my name is Cynthia Raxter, then you're going to be able to find me on Facebook. And one of my favorite things, and I'll give y'all an example. There is a band that plays here at the Bynum Front Porch called Too Much Fun. Okay. And I want y'all to know, I was trying to do some PR for them last year because they were going to play music here. And there is about 17 bands in the United States called Too Much Fun. Yeah. And so how do you know which Too Much Fun is the right one? If there's like 17 bands named, and not only as there's like, so you have to go start looking at those pages to see, is that the right band? No, that's a video gaming creator. No, that's not who I want. Okay, well, there's another band. Well, they happen to be from Georgia. And then there's another band, and and it goes on and on and on and on. And finally you get down, oh, there's a band in North Carolina. Well, guess what? There are 2 bands in North Carolina called Too Much Fun. So having a name is like I said, you're not going to have a name like Cynthia Raxter is fairly unique, But if you have a name, Alice Cunningham, I bet there's at least 17 people out there called Alice Cunningham on Facebook. Canute, there's probably not a whole lot of Canutes out there.
I know. That's a good thing. That's
And this is my friend Beecher Franks. There's not going to be a whole lot of, there's probably going to be quite a few Katie Williams, but I don't know how many of them is going to name herself. And my friend Jefferson Hart, I'm sure there's a few Jeffersons out there, but when you get to a not so unique name, it's very important that you add this right here. And that is very easy to do if you scroll down as you get through, when you get through creating your page. You want to edit page info. It's over here on the left. And like, I'll just repeat again, y'all, I've got screenshots of this so you can follow along with screenshots of PDF on the PDF. But this is where if you wanted to change this to be ampersand instead of and, let's just make it even harder for me to understand. I would just caution you against using punctuation marks, because people will spell out words before they'll use punctuation marks. But you notice right here, I've got 2 spaces. So if you realize you've made a mistake or want to change something, this is where you can change the title of your page. But here is how you put in the actual username. Okay.
okay. So where did you go?
If on the left-hand side, I'll go back so you can see. On the left-hand side, to the left of Sammy, over here this is a scroll bar. Scroll about halfway down.
So I go to Mountain Area Storytellers, and I go to
edit page info.
Edit page info.
And the first thing there is the actual name of the group.
There it is. I got it.
Yeah.
Whoa. So if I want to change my name or add in Canute Rary dash Mountain Area Storytellers,
yes,
I would do it there.
Yes. And then under the username, that's going to be like your web address. It'll be www.facebook.com/ like my storytelling page is called Cynthia Space Rackster.
Yes.
But my username is Cynthia Rackster, all smooshed together.
Smooshed together. Okay.
Because that's my web address. You don't want spaces in a web address because nobody will be able to find you.
Right.
Yeah. And that's also where you can put your description saying, I put in my description as a storyteller, Cynthia Raxter grew up in the mountains of North Carolina on a large family on a dairy farm. She now tells true life stories about funny things that have happened on the way, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also now one of these things that's kind of hard is this local service. Like, well, this is cats. They're mousers. Let's see. Let's put under the category. Like I have my category called storyteller, but I don't want. I'm not going to use that here. We'll say, okay, this is the category cats. Well, there's no such category called cats. Yeah. And
category. Yeah.
I looked for mouser. There's no category called mouser. And then I thought, well, eats lots of salmon dinner.
Yeah.
Y'all excuse my typing. I never took typing in high school. No, they don't have eats lots of. So what you have to do is find something that's similar. And for the kitties, the best thing I could find to mousers was local service. For a storyteller, if I go storyteller, there is no category for stellar. I'm gonna start a petition for Facebook for this. There's no category for storyteller. There's no category for storytelling. The only category, huh?
What about entertaining? Wouldn't that be a category?
Well,
performance.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You can say entertainment, arts and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can say public speaker or motivational speaker, public figure. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, y'all having to watch me type. Public figure, okay? And the other one, probably won't let me put 3 up here. I think it only allows 2, or only allows 3. Public figure, and the other one is motivational speaker. It doesn't even take speaker. So you can put 2 or 3 up there.
Nope.
But none of those work for, none of those really work for me. So that's why I actually have on mine, I have comedian, because people understand what a comedian is. So, and for the cats are just a local service. We tried sports and recreation,
Didn't work.
One of my kitties brought a mouse in about 4 o'clock this morning, and for the first time ever brought it to my bed.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but luckily it was a little bitty tiny mouse, a very, very baby tiny mouse. And I also highly encourage you to fill in the things like your phone number, your email address, and your website. Okay, that's just all basic information, how people get in touch with you. And like I said, with my location, with my storytelling page, I have my P.O. box here. Like Miss Alice, if your tea room is a public entity, you would put your tea room address here. Okay. And my service area, I have told stories from, I think the farthest north I've ever told stories was Maine, and I've told stories in Alaska. So I tell stories from Alaska to Miami. So, but, so I'll say Southeast. Yeah. So, and again, you just sort of have to feel around and find the right answers, because the answer that you give them, like the Southeast, may not work. I think maybe if I put North Carolina, that will work. Okay. Nah. So see, it's just limiting me too much. I don't want to put Charlotte, North Carolina, because people will think I only work in Charlotte. So, and I do work in Charlotte, but I also work in Asheville and Hayesville and Wilmington and wherever. So, and again, the same thing with hours. I don't have hours. I'm always open. I could say that. That's actually probably a good idea. Always open.
Yes.
And like if you're going to take 6 months off and go to Russia or something like that, you could say temporarily closed. Any of these things that you want to price point, just basically that kind of stuff. I don't worry about my price range. One thing here in this Impressum, this is something from Europe, and I don't really know what the real use of it is, but this is where I put links to like newspaper stories or TV stories or videos where I've been interviewed or something like that. This is more like sort of like my press clippings. Okay. And if you have a CD or a book, you could put that here also. Okay. And when I do my when I do send y'all the PDF, I will include a screenshots of these windows on my storytelling page, so that'll be informative to you about filling out maybe your storytelling page. So, all right, and the next thing that is important to change, besides your name and your username, and to add your contact information, if you go down to the very, very bottom, there is settings. Okay. There we go. And their setting, you can change things about letting people add photos and videos to you. Especially when I was doing stand-up comedy, I restricted my page, and I also restricted my personal page, because I got home one night from Garner. I'd done the stand up in Garner for a VFW or something like that. And while on my way home, it's about an hour's drive, somebody had posted not flattering photos of me and had repeated quotes of things that I had said on stage as stand-up comedy. And it's not anything that was super inappropriate, but on stand-up comedy, I talk about my bra. And in fact, I've got an entire set about my bra. And so there was a couple of comments about my bra and about how it was like a torture device. And there's one place where I was telling something on stage and my face is all crunched up. And this person posted this picture of me when my face all crunched up going, my bra's killing me. Well, that's okay for me to do on stage, on stand-up comedy. But like I said, I don't want somebody's mother whose children I'm going to work with tomorrow to see a not off-color picture of me talking about my bra. It's just, that's just not it's okay if I wanted to post that, but not for somebody else. Okay? But if I have a filter that says, no, I don't post pictures like that, or I don't post information like that. If you see me in person on stage, then that's one thing, but just off the blue at Facebook, no. So I keep my page locked down so nobody will ever accidentally post something inappropriate without me giving it the okay. Very much encourage you to turn on sharing, and like this is the country restrictions, age restrictions, all this stuff is just self-explanatory. If you have any questions about this stuff if you create your page, please don't hesitate to either call me or to send me a text or send me a message on chat or whatever, because I'll be glad to help you with any of these things. Okay. All right. So, but the big thing that I want you to change in settings, besides just sort of looking through these and trying to figure out what they mean, is I want you to go down to, let me get to the right spot here. Here, this right here. This is very, very important. These are what's called page roles. And this is who is an administrator on your Facebook page. And y'all notice that I have 2 people set as an admin. On Bynum Front Porch, we have about 4,000 followers. We have about 6 people set as an admin. This Sissy Wilson is not a real person. I have a fake Facebook account. So at any point in time, I can go in and look as another human being and see how my page looks, or see how the video looks coming from Bynum Front Porch. And because I'm an administrator on the Bynum Front Porch page, it's going to show me something that's a little bit different than the public sees. I can go in as Sissy Wilson and see what the public sees. And also, if I ever forget my password to Cynthia Raxter, or my account gets hacked, or something, accidentally deleted, or something stupid like that, if I ever cannot get to my Facebook page as Cynthia Raxter, I've got a back door, and her name is Sissy Wilson. And all of the accounts that I create for myself, I always have Sissy as my assistant administrator. That's just like having 2 keys for your house, or 2 keys for your car, or having, a key hid under the rock somewhere. And so if you lose your keys, your purse gets stolen, you're still able to get into your house. So you can ask one of your grandkids, you can ask, your sister, whoever you want to, but always have at least 2 people be an administrator on your page. And the other thing is there's different page roles. Sometimes, especially like with the mountain area storytelling, Canute.
Yes.
If you wanted to, I'm going to assign a new page role. And this time I'm going to say Robin Kitson. Okay, so there's my friend Robin Kitson, and I'm going to give her, she's going to post some pictures for me. And then maybe she's going to put some more information up about the North Carolina Storytelling Guild on my page as myself, as a page administrator. But I don't, and then admin gives her rights to change passwords and to delete, administrators and a bunch of other things like that. I don't want to give her that many rights. I'm just going to give her rights as an editor, which allows her to post on my page. She can post videos or photos or announcements about North Carolina Storytelling Guild, but she can't actually like add or delete or change passwords. And that's a good level. Yeah.
So when you added her at this point, did that mean that that you have to go create a Facebook page for her?
She's already got a Facebook page. She has to have a Facebook page for me to be able to add her, and she also has to be my friend for me to be able to add her.
Okay.
And at this point in time, it will actually ask you for your Facebook password. I'm not going to type that in now because that's
right.
long. You'd have to watch me typing again. But it will actually ask you for your Facebook password. That's so nobody can just go in here nilly-willy and change this if you forget to leave your screen open somewhere. Like my brother, who likes to go in and change my profile picture if I accidentally leave my Facebook page open. Or my nephew that likes to write something disgusting on my page, if he finds my phone and it's not passworded. So they can't go in there and do mischief unless you can't go in there and do mischief unless you actually put your Facebook page in.
Yes.
Okay. So the two big things under settings is the page info and page roles. Okay. And I think that actually will be very helpful for you, Canute, with the mountaineering storytelling. And
yes, when mine was set up, a fella has helped me set it up locally that does web management. He actually had me connected me through something called Business Suites. Mm-hmm. So what I just realized is I had to go to Business Suites to get to all these settings and things you were talking about. But anyway, so I'm there, but it was interesting because I couldn't find it.
Just on the left.
Yeah, until I went to Business Suites, and then now it's exactly what you're talking about. So I'm following carefully. And thank you. Good.
And once you get, and that's actually why I didn't use my storytelling page, because my the Vine and Front Porch page, because we've got a lot of other things going on, so like live videos and so forth. And so that's why I just created this page called Sammy Alley Parker Sammy Gilligan, never mind.
One of those.
I'm just gonna start calling it Sammy's page so y'all know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
Is there a limit to the length of the words? For example, you have your name - storyteller. So, but if you the length of that, if I put Canute Rary - Mountaineering Storytellers, is there a limit to the number of, well, actually you've got that many letters right there under Sammy's name.
Only thing is it cuts it off. Whatever's on the right-hand side gets cut off in displays.
Yes.
So I highly advise you not to go too long, you know?
Okay.
But I don't know. You just have to keep typing and see how long it would go.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to leave that up there so people know what this is about.
Yeah. Good.
And I think actually you may, when you get down here at the bottom, especially when you change page roles, you might actually need to do like a save. Yeah. So just look for your save buttons. Don't just close windows. And my sister is sending me text messages. I don't know what's going on. Oh, that's great. My niece is graduating. So, but that's okay. They're videotaping it. So we're good. All right, so let me, now we're going to I've got 5 sisters and 1 brother, and we're all there. I'm considered the quiet, studious one in my family. So. I was a librarian for 20 years. So, but the reason they hired me was because of my voice. Number one, I had a voice of authority, they said, and the other thing was molasses dripped out of my mouth, and I was hired to teach. I was medical school library at UNC, and I was hired to teach software, both like medical literature search engines and also pharmacy software. You know, when you go to CVS and get a prescription filled, you get all that pages and pages of printout. Well, I taught way back in the golden days. I taught pharmacists and dentists and medical alumni how to use that pharmacy software. It was a new thing, and also a lot of the there's a whole lot of like medical search tools, and you know, how to write a professional scientific article, you know, citing services and things like that. So I taught them alumni, PhDs and MDs, and DDSs how to use software. And so they said, after I had been hired a few months, they said, "We're just so glad you're teaching now. We've had the best reviews on your classes. Everybody thinks you're just precious." And they said, "We're so glad we hired you. We knew that molasses was dripping out of your mouth." They thought, if that dumb country hick can learn all this software, then I'm a doctor. I went to school at UNC. There's no way I can't learn it, you know? So they had hired me because I had a dumb country hick accent and molasses dripped out of my mouth. So anyway, let's go on. The other thing you can do is really cool thing you could do with your professional page. You can create an event as yourself, but it's just not going. It's absolutely positively is not going to get the traction that a professional page event gets. So we're going to create a new event for our kiddies. They've got one already, which says "Time for Supper," and the first window that you get is a choice between online or in person. And Canute, like if you were going to have an online event, yes, and stream it live to Facebook, you could do that here. I do not recommend doing that, because Facebook, when you say online, it sends you down a rabbit hole of Facebook, and it only displays it to people that have clicked in the event and said, "I want to attend this event." It doesn't show this to everybody that is a follower on your page. If you share it on your personal page, even your personal friends it will be limited to the people that have liked your page that see it. So I highly recommend not using this online button.
Okay.
They may change that at some point in time, but right now, say it's in, and even as we did about 60 shows, maybe streaming, from Bynum Front Porch here, music and storytelling, when we were, you know, locked down from COVID.
Yes.
And we just started having in-person events about 3 weeks ago. So even when we were doing live streaming only shows, we still said it was a live event. And here we can say mouse attack. As a mouse attack at 4 a.m. Wake mama up. I've got 2 kitties that are super mousers, and they take, and actually right after baby brought in a mouse, Gilligan brought in a mouse, and that's my oldest and my youngest cats. And if it's something like the open mic or your Thursday meeting, Canute, you could put that as a recurring event. And if you can set these, like if you're having a private barbecue for only North Carolina Storytelling Guild members, you can say it's a private event. And we're going to change this date here. This is going to actually mouse attack. Okay. We could do it at 2, how about 2 a.m.?
Yes.
And okay. Okay. Bring in. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can put in what category this is. For us, with most of our shows here at the Biden Front Porch of Music, for storytelling, there's not a storytelling tab. So I usually call our storytelling shows theater, because that's as close as, it's not comedy, because some stories are happy and some stories are sad, or some stories are in between. But you can, and I'm not sure why it's wanting to not let me make this a public, but most story, if you want a private event, you set it as private. If you want something that everybody is invited to that you may know on Facebook or anybody else may know on Facebook, set it as public. I'm not sure why it's giving me that a symbol right there right now. So you can also, if you're a member of a nonprofit and have registered as a nonprofit with Facebook, you can set this for fundraising. Bynum Front Porch is a fundraiser. It has a set is approved as a Facebook nonprofit. Facebook does not take any commission, unlike a lot like the GoFundMe or the Indiegogo. Those guys, they take a commission. PayPal takes about 2% commission, if I remember correctly. A lot of places take a commission, even if for your nonprofit fundraising. Facebook does not. So if I wanted to set up a fundraising and put a donate now button on this, I could. And it's real easy to get registered as a Facebook nonprofit. You just send them a copy of your 501c3. So, and here, say I was going to do this at the Bynum Methodist Church. And of course, that gives me an option to get that. Or if it was going to be at a school or a library, you just type that name in here and you pick where you want it to be. Okay. Since my bedroom is not a public event, a public location, we can't. Actually, I think you probably could just put in the street address and it would be okay.
Right.
But we're not going to, we're going to say this is at the Bynum Methodist Church. And here you can put it, you can just copy it. It's automatically going to fill in your cover photo, or you can upload one that you want. Let's see, what do we want here? Downloads. Oops, that's a movie. This is my favorite. This is my sister's, my favorite. My sister Tammy is really funny. Her name is Tamra Moman. And you know how people have t-shirts that say, "What would Jesus do?" WWJD. Well, I told her I wanted a t-shirt that says, "What would Tamra Moman do?" Because she is just the funniest thing on earth. She's a birthing center nurse, and so she can tell you some incredible stories. But she said my favorite cover photo that she used this past year is, well, what kind of dumpster fire is 2021 going to be? You can also, if you're going to have like an event where you're selling tickets on a Eventbrite or through PayPal, you can add that link here. We have found that Eventbrite is just way too expensive. There's a lot of commissions on it. So we usually, if we're doing tickets, we usually just do them through PayPal. Or you can do the brown paper tickets or whatever, but you can add a link here. And then the last thing, if you notice, these are just like 3 little tabs. It started at the beginning with the name, then there was it online or what was the location, and this is, you know, you can add the cover photo. Again, you always want to add a cover photo. Now this is event settings, looks very innocuous, like you're just ready to create an event, but you definitely want to click on event settings. Okay, you can make it so that people can't see who's coming. You can set it so only admins can post to the event, or anybody that wants to can. I like to set it so anybody that wants to can, so people can ask questions on the event, or they can say if it's in a ticketed event and we're sold out, or they don't know where to get the tickets at, they can ask a question and post on the event. Does anybody have a spare ticket? Does anybody know? Is anybody going to carpool to Greensboro? Is anybody, so people can have a conversation within the event. And if you're a little bit worried about who may be coming, like if it's a comedy show, a stand-up comedy show, I will usually say post must be approved by a host or a co-host. But since Sammy and Baby's page here, we don't have to worry about the people they hang out with. Sometimes comedy shows, you need to worry about them and the people they hang out with. And also, I do not like turning on Messenger, because Facebook is really good about sending. You see this little bell symbol? That's how many notifications I have. If I've got a message, like when my sister sent me a message a few minutes ago, y'all saw that flash up on my screen. Personal messages, Facebook is really good about sending me messages, but on these business pages, Facebook is really bad about sending notifications. They don't have that little window pop up and flash at you when somebody asks you a question about tomorrow night's concert or tomorrow night's storytelling event. So they kind of get buried down in Messenger, and I miss them. So I would much rather have people ask post actually in the event, and then I will get a notification at the top of my list saying so-and-so posted in your event, mouse attack. So, and the other thing is here, say, Cynthia Raxter is going to be a host. Okay. All right. I'm going to make Cynthia Raxter a host. Canute is also going to tell.
All right.
He's going to tell some mouse stories. So I'm going to make Canute And then also I'm going to make Mine in North Carolina a host. So, and the other thing is I'm going to make, who else? Robin. And so, and if you'll notice here, Robin's got her personal page, and then down here is also her professional page. So I'm actually going to add both of those. I'll have to let her know tonight that she's going to go there's a mouse attack and she's going to host it.
At 2:15 a.m.
Yeah,
2:45.
Yeah.
Send the cat to her house with the mouse.
Yeah. So you see, I've got a mixture here. This is a professional page. I've got several private pages, and then I've got a couple of things. And I'll show you the reason we want to do that. So if you've got 6 or 8 people that are going to be performing, you can add them all as hosts to the event. And again, that was on the 3rd tab under event settings. Okay. And so let's go over here. Y'all get to watch me type again. Or actually, I think I might be able to just click on this one. I've been helping a lot of people with their Facebook pages. That's why I've got all these. I don't normally have this many Facebook pages. I usually only have 4. So, but I've been helping Mr. Wonderful. He's a local singer. He's really good. He sings a lot of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin songs. I've been helping him with his Facebook page. So if you look here, let's see, let's get down. Let's get on events. I need to change something. Hold on just a second. Did I save that? I didn't save it. Okay. And let me do a refresh. Okay.
This is going longer than I thought, but it's really
okay.
I just want to let you know.
Did I not say that, y'all? Anyway, you'll look on our professional page. This is what a person sees, what a human being sees: home, live, photos, and events. And if they click on the tab right there, they will get a list of the events that you have. And the same thing when you add another storyteller, or like if I'm doing a music event for the Binding Front Porch, I'll add the band, and then I'll also, if I'm friends with any of the members of the band, I will also add them. So when you go to that band's professional page, people can see that they're going to have an event at Binding Front Porch.
Oh.
I think I must have missed clicking save on there. So if Robin was going to come to our storytelling event here at Binding Front Porch, on her page, there would be a listing for that event also. Okay, close that out there. Okay. An event, when you get done, it looks like this. It gives the date and the time, and it gives the details. Creative eating, original work, starring Stamp Salmon Dinner. You can also link a group, like if you have a neighborhood group, or like the Bynum Methodist Church may have the choir group or something like that, you can link a group. Or if you have a story, like if I was going to do an event for, say, the North Carolina Storytelling Guild's Old North State that's in October, then I could link the group Tar Heel Tellers. Or Canute, if you did a Stories on the Square event,
Yeah.
you can link the group Mountain Area Storytellers.
Mhm.
Or the what is it called? The Southern Order of Storytellers.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you could link that group to this. You could link that group to this event.
Oh.
Okay. The next thing you want to do after you get your group, your event created, is you want to invite your friends. And if you notice over here on the far side, I've got a list of people. This is the people at the Health Sciences Library that I work with. This is my family members. This is the people in Chapel Hill that I know. This is a improv group that I belong to. This is all the musicians I know. Another thing is, this is events that I've hosted in the past. So if it's a storytelling event, I would just click on the storytelling event that I hosted last, and I can select all, and it will select all the people that I invited to that last storytelling event. Okay.
Mhm.
And it gives you 500 invites. So you have to invite a lot of people before you hit that max. Okay. And the other thing is you can scroll down here. This is again another advantage of doing this as a professional page as opposed to an individual. You can also look at your groups, and there's a lot of groups. I've got Tar Heel Tellers, East Fork Baptist Church, Asheville Comedy, Greenville Comedy. Now, if this is a local event, like a music show that's going to be here Friday night, I wouldn't be inviting people from Knox Comedy or Greenville Comedy or Asheville Comedy, but I will invite all of those people if it's an online event.
Mhm.
I'm not going to invite people that are not related to this. Like, I'm not going to invite the North Carolina Native Plant Society, people that are in that group. I'm not going to invite the Glenda's Online Peppered Chef Party. But if it's a storytelling group, I will invite the Appalachian Storytellers. So you get the idea.
Mhm.
So you've got your groups that you can invite from. You've got past events that you attended or past events that you hosted. And also people that like live in your neighborhood or that belongs to, or that are like friends lists that you have created. And you may not have your own created friends list, but you are going to have events and that you've attended or hosted, and like the Tar Heel Tellers or the Southern Order of Storytellers. And that's a very, 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 very useful tool. Okay, let me close that. And y'all probably just got a event request from Cynthia Rex for First Time for Supper. I just realized there was no cancel or undo on that. So my apologies for the internet static. The other thing under, let's see, is it here? Let me get to the, nope, that's the invite. That's the invite key. And the other key that you need to know is under the 3 dots, the magic 3 dots. You can add to page. And if you're seeing events like, say, a library has created an event, and you're going to be doing storytelling at that event, you can add your page. Okay. So I'm going to add Cynthia Extra Storyteller to this event called. Okay. So if I'm telling stories at the Durham Library's Storytelling Festival, and they've created an event, I can add my page to their event, and it will display me as a featured teller or a featured artist. And then on my Facebook professional page, it will also display that event as being one of my events. So you don't have to create an event for all your events. You have to make sure that your page is tagged or connected to those events. Okay. Okay. Am I losing y'all? Are you still with me?
No.
You got, okay, good. Y'all are great. You're fantastic. All right. Under this magic tab, the 3 dots, you can export an event and just go take this directly to email. If I don't know why if you wanted to like export guest list and add those people to your Christmas card list or something, you could do. One of the things that's very, very handy, like we have a storytelling event the 2nd Saturday every month, and you can either say that is a recurring event, or you can say you can duplicate the event, and that duplicate event will copy everything over, like the location, the title, the different settings that you may have, like who can post and who can't post. You can then, once you duplicate that event, then you can edit that new event and just maybe change the date and change the cover photo, and everything else can stay the same. So that'll save you a lot of times if you're doing like your open mic event or your Thursday afternoon event. Say you could just go through and change the dates. Okay, and you can also delete it. Maybe that's the best way to get rid of this one.
Did you say you could duplicate the event and just change the dates?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Yes, good.
And too, it saves past events. Okay, so like right now, this is my duplication. Okay, and it just by default made it for tomorrow. Okay, and so then I can I've said in the past. Okay, like I said, I don't use the online button now, but I could change the name. This is the June edition.
Or just change the date right above it.
Just change the date, or change the cover photo. Like if I have a picture, if Robin's going to be telling stories in May, I would have a picture of Robin up. Well, come September, I'm going to have a picture of Canute up there, because Canute's going to be my featured teller that day, that month. Or, if your price changes, so you don't want to just nilly-willy use that duplicate. But if something like your open mic or your Thursday afternoon gathering, swap stories or whatever. It's a very easy tool to use, and you can duplicate events that are that you created in the past.
Mhm.
All right, so let me just go, and and also, if you get in the middle of this and realize that you don't have all the information you need, maybe you don't know the street address of the library that you're going to be at or something like that, you can always just save a draft, okay, and go back to it if you need to. Okay. So all of these little 3 dots, that's just sort of the little magic keys there.
Mhm.
And I think that about does it. And see, you still is sitting out there, and this is under. And so you've got all your buttons under your events, anything where you're going, invites, people that have sent you invites to other events, and events that you're hosting.
Mhm.
All right, so let me close that tab out, and so let's just go back to and the good thing, actually, I wanted to show you one more thing there. I think actually I have this, I've got this bookmarked. I should have just used my bookmarks. There we go. Sorry. Got, had to wander around there for a few minutes. Okay. The other thing about events is you can actually go in and on that event, we'll get back up there. And you can click on the button share. It's not going to give it to me because this is still a draft. Here we are, share. It's usually right up there with the 3 dots is share. And there you will get a choice of whether you share it to a group, whether you share it to one of your other pages, or you share it to your personal page. So once you create the event and publish it, then you can share it to the Tar Heel Tellers from within the event itself. You don't have to copy and paste a link over and over and over and over again. You can actually share to a group or share to a page. And I'm going to give you an idea. This is another one of our tools that we use at the Bynum Front Porch, which is very, 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 very useful and very, 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 very powerful. This is a public group called Caremonger in Pittsburgh that I personally belong to. And there's others out there. There are pages such as the Chatham County, Pittsburgh, Siler City Convention and Visitors Bureau. A lot of these have it set so that you can either post on their page or you can send them a message. And this is where we share a link to our events. So whenever I've got anything coming up that I have created a Facebook event, I immediately share that to Neha at Pittsburgh Siler City Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she will immediately send it out to all of her contacts. It's like if you get this information in the Chamber of Commerce hands, or your downtown, like we've got a Main Street Pittsburgh, or if you've got like the old, I told you about the group Old Country Stores. If you get that if you get the information to them that you've got a storytelling event going on, they will reshare it for you. And likewise, if the downtown Pittsburgh is having an open house, as a courtesy, I reshare their information. There's, y'all know or familiar with the ad called Got Milk, and when people had the white, I'm gonna put y'all's faces on because I'm missing seeing you. Okay, right there we go. So I just talked to you for a second. There's an ad campaign, it's actually very famous, called Got Milk. And the Dairy Association, the like American or United States Dairy Association, they decided that they were going to run an ad not for Borden Dairy and Biltmore Dairy and Mayola Dairy and the Bluestone Dairy or Land O'Lakes or whatever. They decided they were going to create an ad for all of the drinker people out there in the world and for all of the dairies out there in the world, because if they promoted one dairy, they were going to be promoting all the dairies. And that's one of the things I said earlier. If I do something that promotes storytelling, whether that's in the mountains or the sea or down in Miami or up in Maine, it doesn't matter. If I do something that promotes storytelling, it not only helps me as a storyteller, it helps my organization who sponsors a lot of storytelling, but it also helps your organization. It helps you as a storyteller. It helps the North Carolina Storytelling Guild. So if I see the Bynum Methodist Church selling boxes of oranges for Christmas, I share that information. I'll share it on my Facebook page. I'll share it on the Bynum, North Carolina page. And if it's appropriate, I'll share it as Bynum Front Porch. So I'll share it on at least 2 or 3 pages and on my personal page. And people start realizing that you are sharing their information and they'll start sharing your information. And it's that symbiotic relationship. Social media, the key word there is social. Media is the extra word that's stuck on the end. And I call that the soulless word, but the soulful word is social. And storytelling is a soulful endeavor. And so people enjoy promoting storytelling, and I enjoy promoting other people's storytelling, and I'll enjoy promoting storytelling just as an entity in itself. So, I highly encourage you to look for groups. Like there is a Raleigh-Wake County information group. There is a Chatham County information group, a Guilford County information group. There are storytelling groups, as y'all know, the National Storytelling Network. There's the Triad Storytelling Exchange. There's the Asheville Storytelling Circle. I highly recommend that you join those other groups. And so when you have an event, you share that information to those people because they are interested in storytelling. And if it's an online event, they can come to it. And also, there's going to be people, when they have an event, I'll do the same. All right. So that is groups. And that is when we have, the other thing I want to talk about is video. Let me minimize y'all's window. Okay, y'all look still like you're still alive. It's 8:30, so we've got a little bit of time to go here, and we're down to the last thing. So I've talked about groups, we talked about events, and we've talked about professional pages. And this is about video, how to do video. And what I highly recommend is, let me move this down here, is that this is just the help button in Facebook. And all I did is I went up here. This is on any page. If you're on your home page, it doesn't matter. Help and support. And any information that you need on Facebook, if you want to say, explain groups to me, obviously I've got my caps lock on. Okay, it will give you that information. The help files on the Facebook are very, 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 very helpful. Okay. Okay. And it'll give you a list of options. And sometimes you can figure it out by looking at the help file. If you can't figure it out looking at the help file, send me a text or send me a chat message or something like that, because I'll be glad to help you figure out whatever you need to fix. We do this a lot. I have a storytelling social media office hours on the third Tuesday of the month, every month. I am not going to do it in June because I am going to be at the beach next week, and it's my birthday, and we're having a taco night. So but in July, and I will send y'all an email and send it out, get Sylvia to send it out to the North Carolina Storytelling Guild's members. I'll have office hours on the third Tuesday every month, and it's starting in July. So if you have an issue that can wait till the third Tuesday, you can wait till then, but anytime, I'm always glad to answer questions. And what we do is just set up a little screen share with Zoom, and you show me what you're doing, and I do a screen share and walk you through it. Or I look at what you're doing and talk you through it as you do it. So it's no problem at all. I'm glad to do it. So that's the Facebook Help Center. And the question that I asked this afternoon, because I wanted to show this to y'all and get you to know that this information is here, is how to add a video to your page. Okay, and this is different than adding a video to your personal page. You notice that the word page is capitalized. That means it's a professional page. Okay, and if you've got a video that you want to that's on your computer, you can do it from there, or you can actually go to live and go live directly from your Facebook page. If you are going to go live, make sure that you're on your page and interacting as your page, not as yourself personally. And that's the same for the events, because if you're on your page personally, it's just going to send it to your people that are your personal friends. If it's for your Facebook page, it's going to assume that it's public. Anything you post to your Facebook page is public. And so it'll be sharing it to the public, and it'll usually share it to anyone that's a storyteller, or anybody that's your friend, or that is interested in any of the groups that you're in, like Tar Heel Tellers, or like I'm a member of the Caremonger in Pittsburgh. I'm a member of a group called Crocheting. It'll actually be showing, it won't be showing the video to the people that are in the crochet group, but it will say, Cynthia Raxter is live right now with a video called Cynthia Raxter Storytelling. And it's their choice or not whether they go to that video, they click on that link and go to that video and start watching it. It just sends them a little ding on that little bell symbol. Okay. And Canute, you were talking about a business page. One of the great advantages to having a public page is this how to edit video. You can add video, you can download clips from videos that you do live. You can, if you've got it, like I've got a live feed that I did last Friday night, and there was about 2 or 3 minutes of where I was getting the camera set up, and it was all jiggly, and I was trying to get it set up on a tripod, and I promise I wasn't cussing, but I was saying like evil things about the tripod. So I was able to go back after the live video and trim off that part where I was fussing at the tripod, going, oh, come on, stop that. Oh, do that. No, stay put. No, I put you there. Don't move. It really doesn't help at all to fuss at a tripod, but sometimes it makes you feel better. So we will go over there. Let me close this page out. And let me get back to Sammy and Biddy and Baby. Oops. Oops. Actually, let's go to Cynthia Rexter because Cynthia Rexter needs a video. When I took over PR for Bynum Front Porch, we had 280 followers, and that was about 4 years ago. And right now we're right at 4,000 followers. So all these little tricks of sharing things to groups and to other people, and sharing the stuff for the church, and the church shares stuff for me. All that cooperative sharing and using groups has increased the viewership at the Bynum Front Porch by over 3,000, about 3,500 people. So, and if you've ever tried to get followers on a public page, I think I sat here for like the first year and I had about 60 people following me. And I mean, I remember it being a big deal when I got up to 100. And I actually do more with Bynum Front Porch than I actually do with my individual page. But if I did as much with my individual page as I did at Bynum Front Porch, I would probably be at 4,000 viewers also, right at 4,000. But to add a video to my page, Cynthia Raxter, I just click on that button that says video. And these are live feeds. And then I've got a storytelling, a playlist. This is again one of those tools that they give you as a business page. And then we've got all videos, which there's quite a lot of. Okay. Right now, so you just click on the blue button called Upload Video. And if I just go to my desktop, and this is a video that Sam had made at the Roadhouse Storytellers. Alice, I know you've been to the Roadhouse Storytellers. Is anybody else here? Have I lost y'all? Are y'all still with me?
I live too far away to get there. I need to make a road trip. I need to make a road trip to Bynum. Nancy and I need.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we have folks that in the neighborhood that have guest rooms. Yeah. And from what I hear, they've all been very, very wonderfully accommodated. And if you spend the night here, I'll go buy you breakfast the next morning at Verley's Grill. Which, to be honest with you, we get supper at Allen and Sons Barbecue. If you eat meat, if you don't eat meat, we'll go get you something. We get supper at Allen and Sons Barbecue, which is one of the most famous Allen. It's like there's about 4 or 5 barbecue restaurants that are super famous, like Lexington Barbecue and I don't remember, Dillard's and Parker's and a couple others. Stamey's in Greensboro, I think it's called. But Allen and Son is up there on that list of like top 10 barbecue restaurants in North Carolina, and it's a half mile away from me. Wow. So anyway, so you get supper at Allen and Sons Barbecue, and then you get breakfast at Verley's Grill the next morning. Woo. And there is a big debate as to which is better, supper or breakfast.
I don't know. Nancy and I may have to make a road trip.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. And like I said, we have people in the neighborhood, and I've got to live in the nicest neighborhood in the whole world. let me write this so I can post it. I think it was 2 years ago. Sam Pearsall.
Yeah.
And the place that the Pittsburgh Roadhouse closed during COVID, it's just a huge restaurant. Had like a dinner theater in the back. Let me put this, I'm gonna actually tag Sam. And that's the other thing about using Facebook is I tag people. If I've got something that's going, I'm going to assume that that's the right Sam Pearsall. I didn't know there were so many Sam Pearsalls out there. But if I'm posting something, I always make sure I tag them. So that way they know that I've posted something, and so they can see it, and maybe they'll come along and share it also. Or they'll see that I'm using their materials and at least be gratified that I've got, that I'm, that I've been using their materials. So. And this is called a wardrobe review. Miss Alice, you'll appreciate this. This is where I talk about my bra.
Wardrobe review.
And 2019, so that was 2 years ago. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay, 2 years ago. Thanks, Pearsall, Sam Pearsall. And I'm gonna say, and Roadhouse Storytellers. I've been wanting, my birthday is next week, as I said. So
So's mine.
oh, is it? We're both, are
Ah.
we both Geminis?
Yes, I'm on the 7th.
Oh, well, mine's the 9th. Mine's the 9th. Oh, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you too.
Oh, that's cool. You're one of the first people that I met that has got I was always like the one in school that everybody got their birthday during the year. And then my birthday was like 3 days after we got out of school.
Right. So I always had to bring my cupcakes like for the last day of school treat.
Yeah. And so anyway, so this is in the process of uploading, but you get the idea. I just went to my page. I clicked on add video, and then I picked a video off that's on my computer, and I put a title on it, and I made a post, and I tagged Sam Pearsall and Roadhouse Storytellers. Roadhouse Storytellers is where I actually performed. So that's it. And you up here at the top, it's uploading this, and I do recommend do not do this on it's okay on DSL or on cable internet. But if you've got, do not do it on a dial-up modem, or if you've got slow internet at your house, you probably want to go to like a library or something and do this, or go to a coffee shop or something where they have high-speed internet. Okay.